Well, hello there, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's so good to be with you. This is the Piergrossi podcast. My name is Brian Piergrossi, and I'm a human most of the time, and I'm been exploring the human experience and sharing the wisdom that I discover with you, sharing the insights, sharing the epiphanies, sharing the realizations um, to live a life that's more empowered, more in love, more in peace, and more in freedom. This is an interactive space. Anytime you can ask questions, comments, share reflections. This is an interactive community space. We're going to go a little bit slow today. We're going to take it slow. We're going to ease into a certain frequency, a certain vibration. So this is kind of like the opposite of fast food today. Kind of like when it takes a while to let the juices simmer in the pot, and when it comes out, it tastes fantastic, right? So we're just going to go into at a slow pace, at a relaxed pace, and really open up to a vibrational frequency that is healing, powerful, potent. That really opens us up to the magic and the miracles that are present in this moment right now. So I had some epiphanies come through yesterday. Speaking of epiphanies, I had some creative ideas come through. One thing I want to emphasize is that it's when we get quiet. When I say we get quiet, I mean when the mind becomes quiet, that the real creative energy comes through. There's a space available inside us for the creative energy to come through. So to quiet the mind, on an initial level, you think, well, it's about peace. It's about having peace of mind. It's about having serenity, which it is. But once that level opens, then it becomes about creativity and inspiration and passion. So it's the peace and the passion when the mind is open and available, when the heart is open and available. So in that space, some creative downloads came through, and I was feeling into this question of authenticity. Authenticity. So the reality is that in society as it's currently constituted, in the world as it's currently constituted, we actually don't really have the space to be truly, deeply authentic, to really, truly, deeply share in a totally authentic, genuine, raw way that really allows us to see ourselves more clearly and really allows the energy to move and be released. So think about in your life, how many people do you have that you can just really feel like you can be as authentic as you possibly can, authentic, genuine, raw as you possibly can, and they'll sit and listen to what you have to say for an hour, right? Feels like we're in a period right now where people's space, their capacity for time, for presence in the space of time is unavailable, right? So something's really being lost in that. Something's really being lost, and it's this deep space of presence and the ability to be authentic, to really share in a truly deeply authentic way. And social media has created some challenges there, because a lot of social media is become about trying to impress. Let me show you how cool my life is. Let me show you how cool my relationship is. Let me show you how cool my car is. Let me show you how cool my house is. Let me show you, so forth and so on, right? So there's a deeper level of connection, primarily to ourselves, that is becoming increasingly challenging to access. And you could say, well, I have friends, but the thing with friends is that they often are not objective. So when you start sharing something that's really deep inside you, a deep challenge that you're facing, a deep issue that's alive for you, they're going to give you their opinion. They're going to give you their take on it. They're going to give you their slant, which is based on often what's beneficial to them or their own trauma or what they've gone through themselves, and how it triggers something in them that activates them. And they're really talking about themselves, but they're reflecting and projecting onto you. So the whole space of friends becomes often limiting in that regard, right? But what I find we need a space to just really actually share in a really raw, authentic way, to be able to share things and in a confidential space. I think that's a really important thing too, because with friends, you tell your friend, and she tells her friend, and she tells his friend, right? So it's like you don't have the space to really just feel safe in really opening up fully, right? So what I'm finding, what we need a space to share fully, openly, authentically, without actually wanting or seeking or receiving any advice. How radical is that? You ever notice that oftentimes if you are sharing something and you start talking about it, and the energy's moving, and you're getting deeper into it and getting deeper, and in that sharing, a deeper aspect is revealed, deeper aspects are revealed, and the problem, the thing you didn't understand, or the aspect that you couldn't get clear on, starts to become clear just through you sharing it, just through talking about it. You begin to answer your own question, right? Do you ever notice that's how it often works? And that's really how it should work, because the only person that really knows the answer to the question is you. But we need space to open up, to access that deeper truth inside us, to access that deeper space. And that comes from a deep space of presence and a deep space of listening in a deep field of presence. So when you feel someone is fully present with you, which is my gift, so when you feel someone's fully present with you and they're fully listening to you and they're objective, meaning they don't have a position that they're trying to angle in or manipulate in, then there's something so inherently powerful in that there's something so inherently liberating, right? The truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. So the primary thing that happens is there's a release. There's a release of energy. This thing that you're carrying. That I just had a session week or so ago with someone, and they were carrying something that they really hadn't shared with anybody, right? And they thought it was embarrassing. They thought that this was something that they should feel really bad about. Guilt, right? A way that they were living that they were embarrassed. They were trying to hide it, right? So just in having a space and having the courage to speak to it and say, hey, this is what's happening, what's been happening for me. This is what I've been doing. This is why I've been doing it. I don't know any other better way to live right now than to live this kind of a way. And, there's parts of it that I like, even though people might think I'm not supposed to like it. There's parts of it I don't like, right? So in that whole process, there's tears, there's emotion, there's release. And the main thing that you feel is you feel this from a heaviness, from a carrying, to an opening, to a release, to a lightness. So what if we all had a space where we could just be truly authentic? What if we called it authenticity sessions? What if you had someone you could talk to and they would listen from a deep field of presence, from a deep space of listening, and just ask you questions to go deeper into what there is to share without telling you that what you're talking about is right or wrong, without telling you the way you should do it or the way you shouldn't do it, without giving you advice, without giving you these steps, without giving you homework. Just a space of authenticity, just a space to be real, genuine truth, just a celebration of truth. Like, what's really alive for you? What's really happening for you? What do you really long for? What do you really dream of? What are you really feeling? What are you really feeling right now? What have you done that, or are doing, that you're embarrassed about, that you feel guilty about, that you don't want everybody to know about, but you need a space to share it? A space that feels safe and confidential and loving and supportive and non-judgmental. A space to let the burdens of the past go. A space that opens for self-love, for forgiveness, for freedom within, through the vehicle of honesty. So for me, I've been having private sessions with clients for over 10 years. I've had lots of sessions with lots of people from lots of different cultures and backgrounds and lots of different situations and lots of different dynamics. And I've learned a lot and supported a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of transformations. So this is not a new venture, but this particular framework is a new adventure. So this is certainly is an aspect of what I've been doing and what I feel the gift that I've been sharing is, but this is it's kind of like taking the something that feels like it's the juiciest part. It's what's the most needed. It's the greatest level of support, and honing in on that and feeling like there's a tremendous need in the collective for this. So it's something that we all need. I need it. You need it. We all need this space, right? But where do we go for it? Right? The therapist, the psychologist, the life coach. It's like it's kind of set up to sort of tell you what to do. It's set up to tell you for the expert to change the behavior that you have. And not to say there's not a place for that, but there's definitely a need for this place that I'm talking about, which is an open space. And by the way, what I also see is if you do a session in person, not only authentic communication with your words, but you also can explore authentic movement. So that's a part of what I see in the authenticity sessions is authentic movement. Also, there's not always a need to talk. Talking for me is very overrated. So a tremendous amount of healing and release comes in silence. Authentic silence. Authentic silence is deeper than meditation. Authentic silence is more powerful than meditation. Just like authentic communication is deeper than inauthentic communication. Authentic listening is deeper than inauthentic listening, right? So what is authentic silence? Authentic silence, which is different than meditation. In meditation, people get into the idea of like, I need to try to do something. I need to try to become enlightened. I need to try to quiet my mind. I need to make this effort to make this happen or make that happen, or I'm doing it wrong. I need to get rid of the bad thoughts. I need to bring in the good thoughts. I need to get rid of the negative thoughts, and you're bringing the thoughts. That's all unnecessary. All of it is unnecessary. What I invite you to, which is way more powerful, way more potent, way more healing, way more transformational, and will be such a better way of accessing the essence of who you really are, is authentic silence. So depending on where you're at on this path, where you're at in this journey, you may have a lot to share. You may have a lot to talk about. By the way, if you want to schedule these sessions, there's a link on Facebook. You can see it right there, Brian Piergrossi /sessions. And if you want to schedule on Instagram, there's a link in the bio to schedule these sessions with me. And I'll say more about that in a moment. But I just felt like I wanted to share that at this moment. Authentic silence. If you're a little more advanced on the path, then there can be more space for authentic silence. So that means we sit together. It can be a video call. It can be audio. It can be in person. So audio, video, or in person, right? And we sit in a field of presence together. So there's the words, but then there's this silence of just being able to rest in the energy of being. Just being able to relax into the energy of being, to rest into the energy of being. So you're tuning into your breath. And there's just this authentic silence. And in this authentic silence, there's something magical that arises, something miraculous that arises. Now, mind you, whether you're talking or not talking, I will be in authentic silence most of the time because I will be listening to you. So you guys are used to me doing most of the talking if you tune into me here, but in a session, I will be the one that's in authentic silence, and I'll be in a space of full presence and listening mostly to you. So the authentic silence is present when the words are present and when the words are not present. So I think we're on to something really, really powerful, really potent, really needed here for the collective. I'm super excited about it. The authenticity sessions, sliding scale right now. So if you go to that website, you'll see a range, a price range. So you choose the option in that range that you'd like to contribute. Schedule a session. And then you have an authenticity session. And I really encourage people to be, when you have that space, to know that it's a safe, confidential space. I really encourage you to be as honest as you can possibly be in that space. That's where the real healing, that's where the real transformation the real liberation, the real insight, the real clarity, the real sense of direction, connection comes into being. And that may be feeling emotion, that may be feeling strong emotion, that may be feeling emotion that you've been repressing and suppressing for a long time, right? Maybe years, maybe decades. It may be deeper than even your lifetime, right? That could be part of the collective consciousness. So there's an absolute welcoming of whatever arises in an authenticity session. The authenticity session welcomes your whatever you're feeling, whatever you're thinking, whatever stories arise, whatever desires arise, whatever dreams arise. It's not concerned about positive or negative. It's not concerned about good or bad. An authenticity session, we're loving what is. We're present. We're fully present with what is. We're fully here with what is. So when you bring a sense of presence, and me bringing a sense of presence, bringing a sense of awareness, attentiveness, the true depth of listening, there's a healing, there's a movement, there's a transformation, there's an opening, there's a deeper level of insight. And you can feel some of that happening now, right? You can feel it in this collective field, the presence that's here. There's a sense of like there's no script, there's no agenda, there's nothing that we're trying to make happen. There's nothing that you need to be or not need to be in this space. And in this space, then, in this depth of presence, there's something powerful. We could use the word sacred. There's something sacred. Sacred really just means being present. Because when you're present, you start to realize that everything is sacred, including you, including all the parts of yourself. So authenticity sessions, go ahead and click the link and schedule a time. If you have any questions, ask me. I think this is a really great opportunity. I don't know that I'll be doing it the same way in the future. It may be a little bit different when you go to access this, but it's a really powerful, healing, potent space. And I really encourage people to, and I'm speaking to myself as well here, so this is like a truth for me as well as for you. I really encourage you to invest in yourself, to care for yourself, to really feel like you're worth it. I notice like how many people feel like they can't even make an hour for themselves during a week. 1 hour they can't make for themselves in a week, to have a space of self-care, to have a space to really just be with themselves, to really look at themselves, to really be present with themselves. But the actual truth is you can make a space for yourself. You can make a space of 1 hour for yourself. And by the way, the sessions are 1 hour. By the way, they're 1 hour sessions. You can make a space. It's just how you prioritize. So we somehow have this idea that taking care of ourselves is not at the top of the list. You know, feeling healthy inside, feeling emotionally available and free inside is not the top of the list. Clearing the mind, opening the hearts, opening the space to creativity, opening the space to a deeper level of self-understanding and self-awareness, to address the levels of confusion, to address the levels where we're stuck, to address the levels where we're feeling limited. Somehow it's not a priority because we have to do this and we have to do that and we have to do this. You don't have to do anything. That's just the reality. You don't have to do anything. Whatever you're doing is because you want to be doing it. So what do you want to be doing? You probably want to be caring for your children, right? You probably want to be making time for your spouse. You probably want to be making time for your family. You probably want to be making time to generate income. You probably want to be making time to, volunteer here. Or you probably want to be making time for the classes at your university. Maybe you want to be doing these things, maybe you don't. But regardless, whatever you're making time for the week, got to make time for self-care. Got to make it a priority, or else all those things just kind of go flat. And you don't even know why you're doing them anymore. You kind of just go into the motions of like, why am I doing this thing? Or what? How did I get here? How did I end up here? Because you're not taking time for self-care. See, if you don't make time to like really look at yourself and tune into yourself and have space to have someone ask you these questions on a weekly basis, then you start to just get out of alignment, and you don't, because you're not on top of yourself, you're not in a space of truly being aware of yourself, then your life just becomes something that's not really the life that you want to be living, that you're called to be living, that's inspiring for you, that's passionate for you, that's on purpose. But when you can make space to really drop into a space of deep authenticity and being asked the right questions and ask yourself the right questions, things start to come into alignment. They come into alignment rather quickly. Okay, questions, comments. Let's see what we got. Annie says, this is really good and so needed. Beautiful offer. You hold such an authentic, safe space. Satori, thank you. Annie, I have in a long time felt the friend issue is difficult because it really gets superficial. I'm a hugging therapist working with touch and no words. Fantastic. So yes, so I've noticed that too. Like you can I'll talk to a friend, or I need to talk to a friend, or a friend, right? That's the first thing we would go to, common sense. I'll talk to a friend. You can say, I want to talk to my partner or my husband or my wife. But if we're honest, like a lot of times the issues that you have are with your partner, your husband or your wife. So then who do you talk to? Right? You talk to your friend. Your friend is like, they're cooking, or they're, the kids are around, or, they're half of their attention's on you, half their attention's on three other things. They have to jump out to like respond to a text message. They have to do this and that. Oh, what were you saying again? And even if they are present, then they're your friend. So, and I find this especially, it's really interesting to observe the way women relate to each other online and elsewhere. But I find that your friend will kind of side with you, or kind of say you're right, the other person's wrong, because they're your friend, right? But is that really a good friend? Like, what if you're not right? What if you're totally full of shit? And your friend's just gonna say, oh yeah, you're right, and I totally support you, and you go girl, and you make it happen. But like, what if you're totally deluded? Like, you need someone to tell you, like, you're totally deluded, right? You need someone to say, like, you're like not even like remotely dealing with reality right now, right? That's what we really need. We all need that. I need that. You need that. We all need that, right? But like, there's this deeper level of friend that will do that. But in order to do that, first of all, you can't be tied in the situation yourself. So you can't have like a a stake in the outcome of the situation. But also, there needs to be a certain level of presence that's there. Hence the need for the authenticity sessions, right? Is this making sense of why I'm seeing how valuable and important this is right now? And I love, Helena, that you're sharing without words too, and touch. Susie says it's definitely been a process of sitting and sorting friends energetically, and seems as though those who are authentic and those I can be authentic with are now my current circle of friends. This has been quite a journey of colleagues, family, and friends getting used to the new Susie. My inner circle is tight and safe. Excellent. On Instagram, it says we tend to be protective of one another. People tend to give base narratives. It's not consciously intentional. Right. So you don't really, again, like in the space that I'm creating here, you don't really need to have someone say anything in response, right? If there's a space of real presence, and there's a space of asking the right questions, and there's a space of delving into the right space, and the mind can quiet, and the body can quiet, and the mind can quiet, and the heart can open, the answer comes. The answer reveals itself. The answer is there. And you know the answer. You know the answer, right? But we can't access it. We can't access it because there's an energy of being, you know, fear, anxiety, shame, guilt, embarrassment, confusion, overthinking, emotionally blocked. So when you have this space of deep authenticity, this space of deep presence, the opening, the liberation, the release, the healing, the clarity, the insight, the creativity, you're really accessing just yourself. You're accessing this deeper level of spiritual essence of yourself and who you are. So, schedule an authenticity session. Do it for yourself. Care for yourself. You're worth it. You're absolutely worth it. If you're in a state of not being clear on something right now, if you're in a state of confusion, if you're in a state of carrying something that's heavy from the past, if you're in a state of not really knowing where you want to go in the future, if you want to sit in silence, really be deeply present in the space of silence, the highest level of communication. If you want to be in a structured space that's unstructured, I mean that sincerely, like there's something totally valuable about, I call it sometimes making time for the timeless. So being in a structured space that's just available to the moment, to the authenticity of what's alive for you in a safe, confidential space. And it's a space for you to share what's happening for you. So if you guys tune into the podcast here, then of course it's mostly me talking and sharing. This is a space for you to share and on a personal level, right? So I think it's I know, think, feel, I'm certain for sure that it will make a huge difference in your life. It will be very powerful. It is very powerful. And it's an honor and a pleasure to share with you in that way, in this way. And this is an honor and a pleasure right here, right now, to be on here in the mornings and share with you in this way. So you book a session. Let me see if I can put this link on Instagram. You book a session, brianpiergrossi.com sessions. I'm going to give you the shorter version though. Also the bigelow.com sessions. And if you have any trouble or it's any challenge for you to get through the technical part, then just let me know. Let me know if that link works. Yes. Relationships. Let's touch on relationships. So relationships are where we're challenged the most and where the greatest growth comes from. So I totally see this being one of the primary things I see this being valuable for is relationships. Because again, like you talk to your partner, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, that's generally, not for all of us, but for many people, that's the person they go through for authentic reflection, right? But what if what you need authentic reflection for is actually involving someone that you're dating or someone that you're in a relationship with or someone that you're a partner, or you're confused or you're not sure if they're the right person for you, or you're not sure you want to go a different direction, or you just ended the relationship and now what do you do and how do you end it? All of these questions, authenticity session. It's really the thing I think it's most valuable for is relationship questions around relationship, whether it's just recently breaking up, as Darlene is sharing, whether it's just recently started dating somebody, whether you're in something for a long time and it's not really feeling the fire these days, whether it's something in a deeper connection within yourself. Authenticity sessions. Because what is love? Love is based in authenticity. So it's a practice in how to delve into this deeper level of love and connection in yourself, which is based in authenticity, which means intimacy. I have a course that I'm working on about that's putting together this whole package around self-love and creating the relationship of your dreams. So that's coming soon. There's other things too. There's other lot of stuff that I have that's giving you different teaching points, giving you different guidances. So if that's something that really feels valuable for you, that can be manifested for you, right? There's that options there for you. But I really encourage you to try the authenticity session. Because you're gonna really get into this deeper connection to yourself. And there's something powerful about the field of presence when we're really authentic. Helena says, I always start to laugh when you are silent for more than 10 seconds. Great. I love to. Laughter is essential. That's another thing, laughter, right? Like that's authentic. Just like sitting quietly and taking in what's in front of you, especially when it's another human being. Eye gazing. Authenticity sessions. You see the magic, the power of what I'm talking about? I think that was about 10 seconds. Did you start laughing, Helena? So let me tell you about one more thing quick, y'all. and please, any other questions you have, feel free to ask and share. Tomorrow, I'm going to come on around the same time, a little bit earlier, around 10 a.m. Eastern. And we'll start here. Then we're going to go into the private community and go deeper with a private group where we can share more openly and intimately deeper. So we'll start here tomorrow, and then I'll give you the link to go into the private group to share more deeply. We got a great group of people in there from all over the world, and if you haven't joined us yet in the Secret Glow, then we're waiting for you. And I think you're just going to feel such a sense of support and connection with that community, our community. And I do group coaching with folks in there. We meet every Wednesday. So we'll start in here, and then we'll go into the private group where we can go deeper into the Secret Glow together. How about a few moments of authentic silence together? Thank you all so much for being here with me, for sharing this space, particularly those of you who stayed from the beginning to the end. True rock stars, you have my respect. Remember to schedule a session, book a session, authenticity sessions. This is the next level. This is something that feels like it just downloaded through, and it's a really powerful vehicle to bring transformation to your life in a way that's transcends any religion, transcends any psychological, whatever they call them, the different schools of psychology, all these different divisions and separations we have about how to support people. It's the root essence of the true healing that comes behind all of that. Does that make sense? If you look at what is really the healing that comes through the religion or psychology or any kind of therapy, it's this sense of authenticity and presence. So book your authenticity session. I look forward to seeing you there. I wish you a beautiful day. Let me know if you have any questions. And see you in the next now.